member secretaries and other officials from different state councils, Dr. Lekha, Dr. Sharika, award winners, my dear friends and colleagues. A very good morning to one and all. It is surely an auspicious occasion for Kerala State Council for Science and Technology to be a part of the Vignan Utsav, the Festival of Science, wherein the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, through state S&D councils, is showcasing the science, technology and innovation ecosystem at states and union territories and its contributions towards Atmanirbhar Bharat via a year-long program. As you are aware, this month theme of Vignan Utsav, that is during October 2021, is human resource development for science and technology at state level. The program is aimed at highlighting the role of government in human capacity development by depicting the state level initiatives and the opportunities existing through policies and human development centric programs at state and central levels. Today we are here to witness the Kerala episode of Vignan Utsav under the theme Human Resource Development. As you know, we have an array of programs focusing human resource development. If you look into the schemes and programs of Kerala State Council for Science and Technology, the thrust we had given is for human resource development through its fellowships under different categories, awards, and many other programs. Being one of the first and leading state council in the country, our programs are supported by thousands of young minds to pursue their research career. We will continue to support various categories of researchers through our programs. Few novel programs are also in pipeline. I am not extending too much as you are eagerly waiting to hear the motivational speeches of eminent people sitting on the other side. Let me take the charge of my responsibility of welcoming and gathering. Professor K.P. Sudheer needs no introduction. He is leading the Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment. I welcome you, sir, to this program on behalf of the gathering and also of the scientific fraternity of the country. Dr. Sajji Govinda, he needs no introduction. He is very active participant in all our science and technology programs. I sincerely welcome you, sir, to this program. And he will deliver. He is the apt person, the keynote address in this program. He readily accepted our invitation and we cordially welcome you, sir, to this festival of. Dr. Suresh Das, sir, is currently with the ISER as Emeritus Professor and he is our former Executive Vice President and he was also instrumental in molding schemes and programs during his tenure. I welcome you, sir, sincerely to this program. Professor M.P. Rajan, ISER Thiruvananthapuram, for the invitation and he agreed to deliver the speech. I welcome you, sir, to this function. Dr. T.P. Sethu Madhavan is a career consultant now with the Transdisciplinary University, Bengaluru, and welcome you, sir, to this Kerala episode of Vignan Utsav. I sincerely welcome Dr. Datta, Head C Division, DST Government of India, Dr. Reshmi Sharma, Scientist C Division, and Devikant Prajapati from DST to this Festival of Science. I welcome all the member secretaries of different state council, directors, and scientists of R&D institutions to this function. I sincerely welcome all the registered delegates who showed a real interest in the program. I also wish all success to those who are sharing their experiences today, which I am sure it will be a motivation for the youngsters who are participating in this program. I welcome all my friends and colleagues and all scientific fraternity to this function. Let me conclude by requesting you all to envision the India of tomorrow, the India which will merge the best of tradition with the most modern global outlook and work for it. My colleagues, especially Dr. Lekha, who is working hard for the past few weeks for the successful conduct of this program. I thank Dr. Sharika and Sri Sunil, who had taken tremendous effort for this program. I thank and congratulate on and all and my colleagues for their efforts. Thank you all once again.
Thank you, sir. Professor K.P. Sudheer is the Ex-officio Principal Secretary to Department of Science and Technology, Government of Kerala, and the Executive Vice President, Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment. I now invite Professor Sudheer for the presidential address.
Thank you, Sharika. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, everyone. It's indeed a pleasure for me to join the second month program of the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, which celebrates a year-long program on the 75th anniversary of independence. It's planned to be associated with all the state departments, state councils for science and technology, and every month a theme is planned for hosting it, and all the SNT councils of the states are asked to present or formulate a program on each day, a specific day. And today is the turn of Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment, and the theme is on human resource development. So I'm glad that the council scientific members have planned a very good program for today, which showcases a series of eminent speakers, including the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Kerala University of Digital Science, Innovation and Technology, the former Executive Vice President of KSCSTE, Dr. Suresh Das, and Professor MP Rajan from ISET Trivandrum, Professor T.P. Setumadhavan from Transdisciplinary University of Health Science and Technology, Bangalore. And also, we have identified a few selected individuals who were the recipients of different fellowships and scholarships of the council as well as the DST. And it basically will give a flair of the activities the council has been doing as well as the DST has been doing for the human resource development or the capacity building. The Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment, being established to encourage and promote activities related to science and technology for development of the Kerala state. The institute is the locus of scientific excellence. Scientific excellence is a state where excellence in scientific research coexists with excellence in facilitating science relevance to society for benefits of the greater good, in nurturing scientists, in promoting and managing science, and in providing scientific advice to policymakers. The enhancement, exchange, and networking of the available pool of talents are the most fundamental aspects of performance improvement in research and technology development. For this, we need to do enhanced capacity building, skill development, and talent identification through various dedicated programs and policies. A strong program encouraging incubation the benefits of the research to the society and for stimulating economic development in the state. The institutions associated with the council has an incredible pool of talents essential to deliver scientific discoveries to spur economic development. To enhance the scientific abilities of practitioners cutting across various areas of science and technology, I feel that the world-class exposure to the personnel is a keystone towards improving their confidence. Therefore, we should bring in the world-class collaborations by means of exchanges and mentoring of the scientific community under the purview of the Council. The fundamental positive change towards the betterment of society starts with injecting the idea of scope, importance, and effecting of research and technology development for the young talents at the right age. We have a strong and tandem association of the talent cutting across various fields at an early age and to provide them unique and versatile exposure to foster motivation in science. This can be seen as an investment with high returns for social benefits and long-lasting impacts. The omnipotence of knowledge can never be appreciated unless it is disseminated for the betterment of the society. We wish to bring the idea to build a strong database and network of highly skilled and field-based experts so that anybody who wants an expertise in a research area or a topic of relevance can approach them without any difficulty. The Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment at its headquarters has been doing a lot of activities related to human capacity development, which includes dissemination of scholarships, research fellowship, research funding, then various incubation program, promoting incubation program like technology development, adaptation, infrastructure development support, etc. We have a annual turnover of annual budget of 131 crores to facilitate research and technological activities under the council. I should mention during the last 5 years, 2016 to 21, we have distributed around 2,200 undergraduate student scholarship, 200 research projects, 650 research fellowships. All these are at par with what Department of Science and Technology, Government of India also gives, which has resulted in around 1,500 peer-reviewed journal publications, 120 books, and 10 patents. So therefore, I feel the support given by the State Council as well as the DST is very much influential in promoting the science and technology in the state and also for the human resource development. I'm sure that my colleague Dr. Lekha has made a presentation of the details of the capacity building activities of the State Council. I don't want to elaborate much on this, and I wish this function a very success, and thank you very much for inviting me to preside this function. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. To detail the initiatives of Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment for Human Resource Development in SNT, I invite Dr. K.R. Lekha, the Senior Principal Scientist of KCSTE. Madam, please.
I don't think.
Hello? Not audible.
Now it is.
It was in mute. Okay. Sorry, I was in mute. Respected members and invitees, dear participants, a very good morning to all of you. As already mentioned, the topic of this month is Vijnanotsav celebration. This month, Vijnanotsav celebration is human resources development. And my role here is to give you a brief account of the human resource development initiatives carried out by the Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment. Human resources development in science and research is one of the important mandates of KSCSTE. The programs are meticulously designed to cater to all stages of academics and profession, ranging from high school classes with the objective of catching them young, continuing to undergraduate and postgraduate courses, and then to PhD and postdoctoral research, and finally to the young scientists in profession. Further, the knowledge and expertise of superannuated eminent scientists are also utilized for human resource development through mentoring programs. Now, let's have a glance of the various human resource development programs of KSCSTE. The first category is at school and college level. First, coming to the school level programs, we have Spices 1, schemes for promoting young talents in science. And as I mentioned before, this program is carried out with the objective of catching them young. Children of class 8 to 12 are selected and granted rupees 5,000 to carry out science projects. And next is Shastra Samiksha. It's a summer holiday science camp for students of class 8 to 10. This is held in science institutions and laboratories. They include interactive presentations and invited talks. Crystal is another very ambitious program that's offering residential science camps for state-level winners of children's science contests. And this is to cater to the students of age group 10 to 17. And it's involved continuous mentoring to encourage creativity and task commitment. Now coming to the college level programs, we have another prestigious program, the Pratibha Scholarship. Pratibha scholarships are awarded to students who pass out higher secondary examination, meritorious join for undergraduate and under UG courses in basic sciences. The students can avail scholarship till they complete their PG course. And we have already sanctioned about 284 PG scholarships and 449 UG scholarships as on date. Now, coming to the college level, as we saw earlier, SPITE is 1. Here we have in the college level, we have SPITE is 2. It's a scheme for promoting young talents in science that provide project support to students in polytechnic colleges and undergraduate courses. Now, there's one more program for providing project grant for human resource development for students through project grant. This student project program that's awarded to students of university departments and colleges in Kerala to carry out specific projects. We also have a science enrichment program for Pratibha scholars. It's a Friday residential camp, science camp, held in leading research laboratories in the state. ISET Trivandrum has been annually for the Pratibha scholars. The aim is to motivate them to stay in science and make them aware of the opportunities in science career. And this is a very good platform for the students to interact with eminent scientists and academicians. Now coming to the higher level PhD, there's a research fellowship program for the PhD program. It is a flagship program of KSCSTE and there are a very good number of beneficiaries for this program. And there's one for back to lab research fellowship for women having career break during the course of the PhD. That this fellowship will enable them to complete the PhD, though they had to enter into a career break due to family commitments. Next is for biotechnology, we have two very good programs. One is biotechnology postdoc fellowship, and another one is biotechnology re-entry postdoc fellowship. This re-entry fellowship is for Indian nationals who are currently abroad, but they wish to come back to India and work. So this provides opportunity for them to utilize their potential in our country. And PAIR is a very good program. This is a very novel program that provides the research is carried out jointly by in partnership with the academic industry and the research institution. So the industry, there is also a commitment for the industry to see that the person who is trained in this fellowship program will get absorbed in that institution in due course. So that way, this is a very good program. And now coming, this is after the fellowship and student programs, we have the research funding programs for professionals, scientists. And the research funding program start with the human resource development through promotion of research. It starts with a science research scheme. The whole programs of KSCSTE, in fact, started with the science research scheme, provides project grant for professionals in scientists and young researchers in science. We all the research grant that is for the general scientific all science courses for the science research program. And when it comes to the engineering topics, we have the engineering and technology project grant scheme. And for the environment related programs, we have the ecology and environment project grant scheme. In the field of biotechnology, we have the project support for young investigators program in biotechnology. Young researchers are supported to pursue their innovation and research in emerging and frontier areas of research in biotechnology. In biotechnology itself, we have a program that links the researcher with the industry. So the industry will bear part of the funding. So that way, industry-linked biotechnology research program is also offered here. And there are two more minor project programs. See, it's not mine. The first one is a contingent grant offered for the young best paper awardees of Kerala Science Congress. Research grant for the best paper awardees in KSC. And the second one is a major program. There is a Kerala State Young Scientist Award, very prestigious program of the Kerala of KSCSTE, the government of Kerala, that is KSCSTE. And that, as part of that program, we have a very good project support, research project support under this scheme. And now coming to the third category of human resource development, that is through workshops, training, skill development programs, etc. We have a workshop scheme for research methodology, writing practices, language and soft skills for young researchers. And this is also a very good program because many youngsters who have just started their science research for PhD or otherwise, they have all shown interest in attending the staff at KSCSTE and R&D centers. And one-day awareness program for women on technological advances in transforming women's lives. This program gets a large training programs. We have hands-on training and demonstration biotechnology-related rural innovation topics. General training for it is actually a general training program for the public on biotechnology-related topics. And we have advanced training on specialized topics in biotechnology. In leading research labs to benefit postgraduate students and researchers. And we have a specialized training program in biotechnology area that is especially for the PG students. There's one program for industrial training for the PG students and industrial association for mid-career scientists and skill upgradation training for mid-career scientists. So these programs come under the biotechnology field. Then we have the award category, Kerala State Young Scientist Awards. That is to honor talented young scientists working in Kerala for the last 3 years in recognition of their outstanding contribution in branch of science and technology. The Honorable Chief Minister of Kerala gives away the award every year during the Kerala Science Congress. It's a very prestigious event. And today we have the young scientist, one of the young scientist awardee presenting their work in this forum. And finally, we have, as I mentioned before, the Emeritus Fellowship Program. This gives an opportunity for superannuated outstanding scientists to pursue research in their respective field of specialization. Before I close, let's have a quick glance at the human resource activities and the different R&D centers. The R&D centers have already been introduced very well during our Lab Fest program. And now we'll just have a quick glance. The Center for Water Resource Development and Management, which carries out research activities, research and dissemination activities on water-related aspects. Then we have Jawaharlal Nehru Botanic Garden and Research, JNTPGRI. As I mentioned before, the main activity of this research institution, this R&D centers, is carrying out research in specified topics of science domain. But in addition to that, they also do dissemination, training and dissemination programs help to for the human resource development aspects. So the JNTPGRI, then comes Kerala Forest Research Institute at Trichy. Kerala School of Mathematics, they have an academic program started recently in 2020-21, and that is a regular program on integrated MSc PhD. So this program has now currently they have 8 students, but they're planning to raise it to 12 students annually. This institution also offers postdoctoral fellowship, and they have research fellows of NPHM, doctor fellowship, CSIR PhD fellowship, Inspire PhD fellowship. So this institution is coming up for research, basic research in the field of theoretical mathematics, mainly. So student projects, they have 7. They also conduct trainings, workshops, etc. National Transportation Planning and Research Center at Trivandrum, NATPAC, is mainly engaged in transportation-related research projects, and they also have a good number of consultancy projects in the specific domain. They give good assistance to the government also. The training, workshops, seminars are all part of their normal program. Srinivas Ramanujan Institute of Basic Science is a very young institution, and the main activity is providing training, workshops, seminars, etc. and they play very role in the human resource development in terms of acquiring knowledge in basic sciences. Then Malabar Botanic Garden and Institute of Plant Science, specifically some research projects are around 20 of seminars, also part of their activity. So with this short presentation wind up, thank you all for the patient listening and thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Saji Gopinath is the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Kerala University of Digital Sciences, Innovation and Technology. He had previously served as the CEO of Kerala Startup Mission, a mechanical engineer with PhD in management from Indian Institute of Science. Dr. Gopinath started his career with Larsen and Turbo and later served Indian Institute of Management, Kozhikode for over 17 years. He is a recipient of several national and international awards for his scholastic and professional achievements. It's my pleasure to invite Dr. Saji Gopinath for the keynote address. Over to you, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Respected President of the function, Professor KP Sudheer, Executive Vice President, KSCSTE. Dr. S. Pradeep Kumar, Member Secretary, KSCSTE. MC Datan Sir. Dr. K. Lekha, Dr. Suresh Das, Professor MP Ranjan, Dr. T.P. Sidhumadhavan, other dignitaries, inspired scholars, award winners. It's a great privilege for me to be a part of this Vijnan Utsav. This month theme of HR capacity development. We know that we believe the next stage of growth is going for the country. Atmanirbhar Bharat taking shape. The role of HR is going to be very, very critical. So let me just share some of the thoughts on a short PPT where we will look at how the India going forward into the next leap of growth, lead the country to the leadership of technology. I hope my screen is visible. So basically, I thought I will speak on three themes. We know that look at globally, the research productivity growth, India is actually doing very well in the last 15 years.
So please, all of this, mute your mic. Please listen. All of this, please mute your mic.
So we know that today in the world, India's research productivity India's research productivity is just behind US and China, with close to around 200,000 research publications being published per year, and that too with a very steep growth rate of 11% per annum, compared to much lower rates in other part of the world. So there is a clear evidence of India emerging as a knowledge power, and I believe that when India is celebrating our 75th year of independence, when we are looking forward we need to look at how the country is going to lead into the next stages of growth. So that's my first theme. Looking at the global as well as national changes and challenges and see how the next stage of growth is going to happen. But when you look at these opportunities, it's also important that we need to see how we actually create the strategies of excellence. We know that India is having a large human resources. It's important for us to see how we can actually make that contribute to the development. And that's primarily where the innovation and human resource capacity development will come into picture. Dr. Lekha has given an extensive detail about the type of work Kerala State Science and Technology, Kerala State Council for Science and Technology and Environment is doing for promoting the knowledge ecosystem in the state. So I just wanted to add to that, looking at one of the elements, which is a startup ecosystem, as an additional element which can actually look at fostering the innovation. So these are the three themes which I thought I will speak about. How India is going to lead in the next world, and why India should lead in the next stage. The opportunities available, how that is actually can be done through innovation, and how the innovation can actually be translated into action through startup and the other things which we have discussed. So if you look at the globally, we actually have a paradoxical situation. The global labor market, the labor availability is actually going down, especially the conventional countries which used to provide the high-end knowledge jobs are actually in the declining stage. And on the other side, this is obviously become almost like a cliche when we speak about the demographic dividend, but we know that India being a young country and it has got a sharp increase in its resources, knowledge resources. I already gave you the case of how research productivity is increasing, how the various agencies led by the Department of Science and Technology and various state councils are actually creating the knowledge ecosystem in the country. So many different activities happening. There is a very great potential that almost all the 1 out of every 3 jobs which is going to be created for the next 20 years in the world can actually be for the Indians. And this is more relevant in the context of the pandemic, because the pandemic actually changed the socio-political system in the world. If we go back a few centuries back, we know that most of the production has been limited to very small areas, households, and production they do, they actually ship from one point to another point. So you have localized production centers and a global trade used to happen. The last century made a big difference. The last century, due to the inventions in the science and technology, specifically in the context of IC engines and the quick mobility solutions, including the aircrafts and jet engines and all, people started moving quickly from one part of the world to another part of the world. This has led to a different world where the globalization becomes the key thing. There is a large-scale manufacturing is going to be the key things, large-scale research centers. Now, everything has becoming in a mass sort of a model. And that has actually led to development of few regions in the world. And then, due to the pandemic, as well as due to some of the other the production is getting centered in smaller areas, while using technology, we are able to aggregate at a global level. So the limited mobility, the changes in the social political situations, all of them actually led to from a globalization to a localization sort of model. We have seen during the pandemic how the Indian industry has actually responded to the challenges by creating a large number of new products and services. So the result of all these is basically an exponential increase in the local entrepreneurship and job opportunities. And that is basically where the Atmanirbhar becomes a very, very important element. In the days to come, India will actually have a decentralized manufacturing infrastructure, which actually leverages on the science and technology to leap forward to the days to come. But to do that, we really require to ensure that our people are capable for doing that. And the remote working models, etc., which is coming as a key thing, actually ensures that an overall inclusive development is actually possible. Along with that is the technological development which is happening across the world. We know that the major changes in the world major world orders has happened always through technologies. It was a textile technology, the steam engines, locomotives. This was basically which drives the first wave of change in the world. We call it as the first industrial revolution. Primarily be driven by the automobiles, the IC engines, oil, and then came the silicon revolution, which came into the part of the last century, where the computers and the electronics actually created the change. Now we are in the fourth a revolution where the biological, physical, and digital world is actually coming together. New technologies are coming in a very, very fast way. It's making changes in almost every sphere of life and every walk of life and every functions. And this change, as we see, is even over the period, the time of introduction is very, very short. So we are actually having a very interesting situation in front of us. And when India is celebrating the 75th year, and we are into the next stage, where we have a technological development which is happening, which is supporting country. There is a socio-political change which is happening, helping the decentralized development of it. So the question is, how do we actually take care of that? And the impact, there is a key transition from an industrial economy to a knowledge economy. An industrial economy where conventional factors of production was the key thing, the land, labor, huge amount of capital, which was primarily the one which was driving the growth, to a world where the exponential technologies, the knowledge is going to drive, and the new workforce 4.0 is actually emerging. There's a large number of new jobs which is getting created. It is estimated that 85 million jobs of today is going to get replaced by around 97 million new jobs. HR development as a very key element for our next stage of growth. Now let's come back to the Indian story. Our honorable Prime Minister, just before the pandemic, has given us a challenge of converting India into a 5 trillion economy into in a matter of 5 years. Now, interestingly, at that point of time, India was around 2.7 or something, so 2.7 or 7 or 7.2 trillion is basically the number which we had at that point of time as far as GDP is concerned. From when you want to grow from a 2.7 trillion to around 5 trillion economy in 5 years, the basic finance tells you that if you want to double in a 5 years, you need to grow at around 14% per annum. So the challenge the Honorable Prime Minister gave to the people is that how do we actually grow a country at 14% per annum every year, while India always used to grow at around 6% or 7% sort of a thing. Now that can happen only when you leverage on innovation, you leverage on technology, you leverage on science, and come out with exponential solutions which can actually drive the growth. And that also leads to a huge amount of jobs available. It is predicted that around 5 million jobs per year is going to happen. So 10 million per year jobs are going to happen in the next 5 years because of this growth. If you look at each of the sectors, you can see this thing. It's evident. So the emergence of a service sector and an HR development is actually the key thing which will realize the dream of country leapfrogging in the next 5 years to the next higher level person. And that's the context in which I think we should look at the Kerala. Kerala conventionally has a challenge of not having large amount of natural resources or large amount of land, and conventional factors of production is not there. But we have a large number of educated youth. We have a much more inclusive education system. We have a system where even in our science and technology sector, 50% of the women, 50% of the experts are actually women. So you are primarily looking at a very inclusive society with a large number of educated youth and a very strong social infrastructure, and conventional affinity towards knowledge jobs will actually make Kerala as a key resource hub for the world person. So maybe at this point of time when we are celebrating the Azadi Amrit Mahotsav, one of the things which we need to start looking at is how do we Kerala jump into the knowledge economy wagon in a big way. The type of infrastructure, the type of programs which the agencies like KSCSTE and the various other research institutions are providing have to be leveraged to develop an inclusive knowledge society where innovation-led entrepreneurship is going to be the key thing. And that also will lead to a large-scale employment. Some of you may be aware that Kerala government has announced 20 lakh jobs in next 5 years in the knowledge economy space, is primarily leveraging on this strength and looking at the changes which is happening all around us. So the question in front of us is that how do we lead rather than following or ignoring this change happening around us? And that's basically where the HR development becomes a very key thing as such. So how do we lead in this new world? How do we lead in this new world? For that, we need to understand the nuances of the global market. We need to understand the technical and behavioral aspect of it. We know that a large chunk of research is happening in various entities. How do you translate that research into actionable solutions is a key thing. How do you actually ensure that we have people who are able to take and translate this research into something which solves the country's problems, creating new vistas of employment and entrepreneurship opportunities. All those things comes to the new world of education person. And whenever we speak about change, we always speak about the nature of change which is happening. The basic economic theory tells you that as an economy actually grows fast, and it has to grow fast, the nature of entrepreneurship in the economy has to change. The nature of work in the economy has to change. And this has happened across the world. When an economy is at an earlier stage, we basically look at more of a factor-driven economy. Maybe the India's early stage of growth was primarily on that. We created large factories, we created people who are able to do work on there, but we have not really looking at the next level of. And at this point of time, we are actually moving from that factor-driven economy to what we call as. So the next stage of growth of the country, as far as the human resource development is concerned, which in turn will translate into the faster economic growth, is primarily to make India as an innovation-driven economy person. There are other economies in the world which have done smaller, larger economies which have done. That is the key theme in which we may have actually look at our future person. So how do you do that? How do you create that innovative mindsets? Any innovative mindset by the change of the process of the education. And process of education, when we look at, we have three key pillars to that. The knowing part of it, the doing part of it, and the being part of it. So when you think about any HR development, the other models of knowing, where the theory, formula, models have been done. We also have systems and which actually support the doing part of it, the practical. The third part of it, which is what we call as a being, is basically where this is translated into something which is actionable, looking at the key human values and creating the character person. And that can happen when you are looking at three elements: the support the classrooms, support the labs with the internship and the startups person. So that's basically where the ecosystem go into the next stage, where the startup ecosystem enhances startup ecosystem substantially. Today we have world's third largest startup ecosystem. Even in Kerala, we are able to really develop a technology inclusive startup ecosystem. With almost around 10% of India's startups are now in Kerala. Out of the 55,000 odd startups, around 5,500 startups are in Kerala. So the question is that how do we actually drive this startup ecosystem in conjunction with the larger ecosystem? The larger ecosystem of knowledge is something which we need to discuss. Now, having said that, we also look at what is a startup. A startup is something which uses technology, innovation as its input and leverages that to come out with knowledge products which can lead exponential growth and learning. In an employment continuum or a continuum, startups are the one which gives highest value addition. Basically, where the startups are getting. So if you have a higher end of knowledge solutions that is actually translated into field, we have several initiatives being done. Let me just take one example of that in Kerala, the Kerala Startup Mission, which is started with the support of Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. In fact, all over the India, the Kerala Startup Mission, at that time it's called Technology Incubator, way back in 2006 was the first non-academic incubator, with an incubator which is set up within an industrial park has happened. Later in 2010, the DST also is India's first public-private partnership incubator, also in Kerala, called Startup Village. So all these things are actually helped us to develop a pipeline of startups, and several of the products which has actually been gone into the market with a lot of laurels from across the world. So what do a startup mission or a startup ecosystem do to support this innovation-driven resource development? There are 6 elements to any startup ecosystem development. Since we have a very limited amount of time, I'm not going to go into the details of what startup mission does. But briefly, to put it, any time when you translate the entrepreneurship into a system, to ensure that people actually develop with innovative mindsets, and it is important that they have to be inspired. So there's a lot of programs and procedures and systems which actually provides the inspiration for that. They inspire people to do something big, inspire people to do something which is beyond the obvious, inspire people to solve larger problems of the society, leveraging on the technological strength available, leveraging on the knowledge available in the larger ecosystem. But we also need to ensure that we need to educate people. And that is basically where the Startup Mission set up innovation and entrepreneurship development cells across the into the action, train them in the newer technological areas, come out with newer models like digital fabrication, augmented reality, big data analytics, the various elements of STEM related projects. So all of them as part of the educate per se. But any innovation is always about experimentation. So innovation can fail. So you really require a platform where people can try and fail, where the infrastructure is available, the cost of failure is not very huge. That's basically where innovation zones, idea challenges, feature labs, fab labs, etc. has been developed into the system per se. And then once you have that, then you need to actually translate into an action. The Kerala government has set up incubators with the support of DST, with the support of open biotechnology, and various other government entities, including the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and some of the very large incubators in the country is actually being set up in Kerala, and where almost all cities covered with incubators and various DC Prayas grant from DST to launch their product, to convert their idea into the translated message. Then you have an accelerators which helps you to grow the program into the next level as such. The Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India, and the Startup Mission has jointly set up the country's largest electronic incubator, setting up a center for excellence in IIoT. These are primarily to help the acceleration of the program, acceleration of the startups into the next level person. And finally, you have an impact where you ensure that the solutions are actually implemented in the field. People are benefited with that, and at the same time, there is an economic benefit comes in. So basically, a whole support at various stages of growth is actually being given. So the research the research ecosystem which provides the people with the right skills to do the research, a startup ecosystem will complement that to ensure that this gets translated into action. And in this process, we create a large number of people who are capable of developing decentralized entrepreneurship, technology-based entrepreneurship into the ecosystem. Because, as I said some time back, if India has to realize the Atmanirbhar, it's important that we need to be very inclusive. We need to ensure that the strength of science and technology reaches throughout the country, we need to have that decentralized entrepreneurship ecosystem to get developed. And that's primarily where the startup missions plays a role. This is also important because the 21st century skills for human resources are not the conventional cognitive skills and conduct skills. It is about complex problem solving skills. It's about the social skills. It's about the system skills. It's the Prof skills. This is what World Economic Forum says. All these skills can be taught in a model only an ecosystem which supports innovation, an ecosystem which provides more innovative. And that's primarily where I think we need to go. We have made some early stages of development. That's something which we need to consolidate and grow into the next stage first. So let me close by saying that we are all in the midst of a storm, which has actually created challenges for all of us. So it's basically, but it also can be looked as a great equalizer for us. With resources being shifted from a physical form to more of a digital form, the accessibility of that is become a very important element. And leveraging on that to strengthen our human resources is basically the challenge for us to take this storm to go into the next level. Let me stop by saying that we cannot go back and change the beginning, but we can always start where you are and change the ending. So when we are at 75, we need to actually start looking at how maybe 5 years from now, 10 years from now, maybe the world's largest, most powerful, and most effective economy can be the Indian economy. Thank you very much once again for inviting me for this session. All the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, Saji.
Thank you, sir, for that inspiring and insightful lecture. And very sorry for that disturbance that happened in between. We are unable to trace it out still now. And I request all others to please mute yourself and listen to what the experts are saying. And now we have Dr. Suresh Das sir with us. Dr. Suresh Das was formerly the Executive Vice President of Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment. And before that, the Director of CSIR, National Institute for Interdisciplinary Science and Technology, Thiruvananthapuram. Dr. Das obtained his PhD in chemistry in 1981 from the University of Newcastle upon Tyne, UK. After several postdoctoral research positions at international reputed institutions, he joined as head of the newly established Photochemistry Research Unit in 1989 at the National Institute for Interdisciplinary Science and Technology, Trivandrum. There, he was instrumental in establishing a leading group and state-of-the-art facilities for conducting research on basic and applied aspects of photochemistry. He is a fellow of the International Science Academy, New Delhi, and the Indian Academy of Science, Bangalore, and the recipient of several prestigious awards. He is currently the Emeritus Professor at Indian Institute of Science Education and Research, Thiruvananthapuram. I am indeed privileged to invite Dr. Suresh Das to share his thoughts. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Sarika, and I hope that you can hear me. You can hear me, right?
Yes, sir, you can hear you. Not clear.
Not clear? Is it clear now?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, so let me thank you, Sarika, and I'd also like to thank Dr.
A little louder, please.
Yeah, I would also like to thank Dr. Lekha Rajendran, and also the KSCSTE for this invitation. It's always a pleasure to be back with my old colleagues at KSCSTE. And so what I'll do is I'll just share my presentation. I hope that you can see that. Can you see my screen?
Yes, visible, sir, but a little bit louder, sir.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm speaking loud.
Okay, sure, sir. Thanks.
Sir, okay, please carry on, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I first of all, let me thank you for all your invitation and happy to be here. And I really enjoyed the talk that Dr. Saji Gopinath gave. Actually, he covered many very important aspects of human capacity development under and I would like to add on to some of the things that he said. One of the most important things that he had mentioned as far as I understand it, that if India is to make it to the next level, it has to focus on science, technology, and the importance of science and technology and innovation is something that is stressed upon, and I hope that I will follow that up in this. The human capacity development really has two aspects of it. One is the capacity development, that is the responsibility of the organization. So at the organizational level, what has to be done? I think Dr. Sudheer covered several aspects of what has to be done at the organization level. The other is, of course, what can we as individuals quality, our own quality of being able to contribute. These are the two aspects, and as I said, Dr. Sudheer has focused more on the organizational level, and I would like to, since there are many young members in the audience, I would like to focus on capabilities in order to contribute. So, and of course, for the perspective that I will be talking about is on science and technology. So, Sudheer had mentioned that if you really want to become a leading economy of the world, the importance of science, technology, science and technology and innovation is stressed upon. And you can look at here, I have tried to show that in a graphic manner. You can see that if you look at this, basically what I've shown here is the map of the world. And you may not recognize it because what the map is showing, the area is shown as proportional to the knowledge content of that.
So please hold your mic. It's not clear.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you hear now?
Yes. Now it is okay.
Okay. So, okay, this is the map of the world, and it is being shown as the area is shown proportional to the knowledge content of that country. So if you look at America, you can look that the area is very large, very fat, okay? And whereas India is practically missing, it's very thin here, okay? And you can see it here. On the other hand, if you look at the global distribution of poverty, of course this is in 2007, you can see that now countries like Africa, their area have increased. So very clear inverse proportion exists to the capacity for using knowledge in a country and the global distribution of poverty. Okay. So you see that very clearly. And this is true. So if you really have to become a leading nation, you have to be a leader in the area of science and technology. And this is, even if you look at it historically, okay, right from the history of mankind, when we are talking about Homo sapiens, you can see that it was the area which had the latest development in technology. If you go back to the Indus Valley civilization, the Mesopotamian civilization, Egyptian civilization, that time it was agriculture that was the technology. And you can look at that these societies were the leaders in science in terms of mathematics, in terms of astronomy, writing, development of scripts, development of numbers, and so on. And so naturally they were the leaders, and they were also the economic leaders of that time. And in the Middle history, you can see that countries like India, China, Arabia, and Greece were the leaders. And again, you will see that these were also the science and technology leaders of that time. It's only after the 1800 that that scientific revolution that happened in Europe that brought about the economic growth and huge development and disparity that we see today. And today, of course, most of the advanced science and technology and of course the economic powers are there in Europe and USA. Of course, this is going to change, as was indicated. We can already see that the kind of investments that China is making, and is it going to be the next leading power? And also India, when are we also going to become the leading power in the times to come? And the reason I choose these two countries is there is something which is called about the demographic dividend, I think, which Dr. Sudheer Gopinath also touched upon. And you can see basically what this graph shows is that the population as a function of age. And you can see the maximum population in a country like India is in the age group of 10 to 14. And so, which means for the next 20 to 30 years, we will be having what they call the demographic dividend, because these are the people who will be coming into the job market. In China also it is large, although it has been started to taper down because of their population policies. But these are the two. So in the coming few 10, 20, 30 years, the major workforce will be from these two countries. And how this workforce, human capacity actually shape up is going to define the future of the world, in fact. Okay. So basically at the organizational level, I think the most important aspect is to recognize that the leadership in science, technology, and innovation is an absolute necessary for achieving economic leadership. We cannot trade ourselves to the top. Okay. And so, therefore, the organization, by that we mean the central government, the state governments, the institutions that we see, have to focus on some of these very important skills, which was talked about also in the earlier presentation: education, lifelong learning skills, skill development and employment, entrepreneurship, and social justice and inclusiveness. And I would, if you were to look at all four, if I were to give this a priority, I would say that social justice and inclusiveness is going to be one of the most important aspects if we are going to see that human capacity develop actually and the demographic dividend to pay to actually reap that demographic dividend. It is very important to be focusing on the social justice and inclusiveness. And why do I say that? Let's take a look at the India's wealth pyramid. When you look at this, the bottom of the pyramid, you can see that about 92.3% of the population falls under this. And so basically, if you look at the top half of the pyramid, these are the people for whom life is going well. They prefer status quo. Whereas it is this group that would like to see change happen. Change happen, if not tomorrow, if not today, at least by tomorrow. They are very anxious to see that the country undergoes the kind of change that we all aspire. So that is going to be so if really India has to change, and if we have to reach the demographic dividend, then it is necessary that we create systems where these kind of skills, what we are talking about, the quality of education, high quality education, skill development, the entrepreneurship skills are imparted to a larger section of society if the revolution has to really happen. Otherwise, instead of reaping the demographic dividend, what we will be facing is the demographic drag. This is something, as I said, all organizations have to mention. So now I'll come to the human capacity at the personal level, and this is mainly addressed to the young members of the audience. And very important, I feel, is that in order to be successful in life, one has to have a blueprint. Just like when we start to construct a building, we don't go and start doing it without actually having a plan. It may change during the course of your building, but at the same time, so as it can, right? So the blueprint can change, but at least to start with, you have to kind of self-analysis, have a kind of discipline in life. And how do you do that? It's very important to think about what is it that, as an individual, we are deeply passionate about. What is it that we are capable or good at, and what if we can combine that with the fact that we can drive our economic engine. If we are lucky to be in this place where all these things overlap, that is what we do. Because success is not something that happens overnight. We need to put it. It's very difficult to kind of put effort into an area where you are not very passionate about, or where you are exactly absolutely. This is something that one has to analyze. And of course, there are several characteristics that are required human characteristics that are required. It's going to show something, but these are something that are required, not really in every area. There are some special characteristics that are required of science and technology. Really want to be successful in science and technology. And I just would like to talk a little bit about some of misconceptions. For example, intelligence, knowledge, imagination, creativity, and intellectual curiosity. Just next few slides, I will talk a little bit about each of these, and then I will stop. And of course, most important, ask. Because all these things, you don't have the courage to like to do and follow up. That let's talk about it. This is one of the greatest myths that scientists are doing. If you really look at most of the their IQ is of the average range of 120. And even the concept of IQ is now being questioned. But if you do the test, standard test, their range they have IQ of 140. What is called a genius according to the IQ test is those that do 140.
Excuse me, sir. Yeah, sound is again.
I will try to. Is it better?
Yes, fine, sir.
Okay, I will remove this headphone. So is it clear enough?
Yes, very clear.
Now it is clear.
Yeah. So I think the headphone was a problem. So okay. So if you look at the IQ of 140 to 180, that is what is considered as a genius. But you will find very few people with that kind of IQ actually going into science. They may tax auditors or tax consultants. That's a very good job, but not the kind that we are talking about if you really want to be doing science. Very famous scientists like E.O. Wilson had an IQ of 123, Charles Darwin had an IQ of 130. These are all very famous scientists. So much more to be successful in science are the qualities like diligence, a sense of purpose, the power to concentrate, and persevere against adversity. Yeah, and I will come a little bit more into the details of these aspects. So basically a career in science is like running a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not just some brilliant thing or discovery that you make. It's a lifelong pursuit, and that is why diligence is important. You have to have a clear sense of purpose, and of course, the power to concentrate and persevere against adversity. Okay. So when it comes to knowledge, of course, as a scientist, if you really want to be good in your area, you have to develop a core expertise. It can be in the chosen area. You have to master the fundamentals, concepts of physics, chemistry, biology, engineering, or medicine, whichever is of your interest. And regardless of which area you master, one important aspect that most recognize today, especially in a data-driven world, is an expertise or a basic level of expertise in mathematics. So knowledge of mathematics can benefit all areas of science and technology. And generally, people have a fear of mathematics, and that is something that has to be overcome, because what we are talking about when we talk about mathematical skills, we are not talking about exceptional mathematics skills. That is required that kind of fluency is only required if you're going into specific areas like particle physics, astrophysics, theoretical sciences, or we're doing research in advanced mathematics. But the basic level or language of science and mathematics becomes very useful even when you are a biologist, or whether you're a chemist or any other field. Even if you want to go into technology, this becomes very important. And I think that, as I said, expertise in your core area and a basic level knowledge of mathematics becomes very important to be a good scientist. And how do we acquire this? Of course, today there are
many institutions in India, the IITs, ISS, the government has taken many initiatives. We have got several central universities, but not every, but if really, as we mentioned about the equity, if we really want this to go much further, we have to think about better ways of imparting this kind of knowledge within the society. Today, so much of data is available on the internet. And it is, if you look at one of even the smartphones that we have today, the computer that we have in our hand is much more powerful than the computer that was used to send Apollo to the moon. So that is the power we have in our hand. So how do we use that to ensure that this knowledge that is required, because basic knowledge of in any specific area has to be acquired, and if we are going to talk about the kind of population that a country like India has, we cannot depend solely on these elite institutions. And so therefore we have to think about ways of using the internet and spreading that and making it available to larger sections if we are really going to reap what, as I mentioned earlier, reap the demographic dividend that we will, that I had shown in the earlier graph. So another important aspect, of course, knowledge is important, but just mastering knowledge alone does not make you a scientist, because knowledge, after all, is what already exists, what is already known. This is important. This is a big, important stepping stone to be getting into the field of science and technology. But still, this is only that which is known. Really, if you want to go from knowledge, having that knowledge, to creating new knowledge or innovation, that requires a different skill. Because here we are talking about imagination and creativity. Okay, and Einstein had said imagination is more important than knowledge, because knowledge, of course, is, as I said, is whatever is already there in the box. If you really want to extend the size of the box, if you want to think about the future, and that can only be done through imagination and creative thinking. And this is a skill, as Professor Sudheer Gopinathan mentioned. This is not something that you are inborn, not an inborn skill. It is something that can be developed. It can something that can be taught. Okay, and here I would just like to say that this is one of the power to daydream. In fact, all great science has its roots in fantasy. Einstein used to talk about the importance of leading fiction and fantasy. And so this kind of ability to think about that which does not exist today is what helps you to become a creative scientist. And there are so many examples in history when you talk about Newton, Archimedes, Kekule, Einstein. All of these people used to kind of imagine things in their brain that was preposterous at that time, and then see if some of that can become a reality. And this is something that each of you as individuals can do. You can fantasize yourself 10 years from now. Where would you be? What great discovery would you potentially be making? What field of science would give you the maximum enjoyment? So this kind of free thinking is very important if you really want to get into the field of science and technology. And so I just took quotes here by Robert Goddard. It is difficult to say what is impossible, for the dream of yesterday is the hope of today and the reality of tomorrow. And our own APJ Abdul Kalam has several quotes on dreams. I've just given one here where he talks about dreams. He says, dreams transform into thoughts and thoughts result in action. And so you will see as I said in our previous slide, the roots of some of the greatest discovery lie in the fact that one has to develop that ability to imagine and look into the future. And how do we do that? How do we learn to do that? One of the most, again, this is a quote from Einstein, something that he said, is that try to develop an intellectual curiosity of the world around us. How does nature function? How does the world function? Okay, and very often the layman, just for example, if I take a leaf, the layman just sees the leaf, but a scientist sees so much of beauty beyond the leaf, so much of function beyond the leaf. So this aspect is there in practically any aspect of science that you do. Okay, any area that you do, you will see that there is a mystery. And I have just quoted this, I will read it out. The most beautiful and deepest experience a man can have is the sense of the mysterious. The sense that behind anything that can be experienced, there is something that the mind cannot grasp, and whose beauty and simplicity are but a feeble reflection. And so he goes. So he says, to me, it suffices to wonder at the secrets and to attempt humbly to grasp with my mind a mere image of the lofty structure of all that there is. Okay. So intellectual curiosity combined with the sense of development of imagination is very, very important. So let us say now you can possess all the intelligence, the knowledge, the imagination, creativity, and intellectual curiosity, and yet one can fail in becoming successful in life. And why is that? Because many of us lack the courage to follow our own passion. We are dictated to a large extent by what society demands of us. And so therefore we put aside what we would really like to follow and say that this is what is acceptable. And this courage, unless we develop that sense of courage, doesn't matter if we are able to possess all of those skills, we will end up not being able to really fulfill our true potential. So in science, it's a very interesting, what the meaning of courage is very different from what courage means to a soldier. For a soldier, it means to march towards the sound of the guns. That means that's where the big guns are moving, that's where the action is, and that's where you go. This is the advice that will be given to a soldier if he wants to demonstrate courage. And for scientists, it's exactly the opposite. We have to march away from the sound of the guns. That is, if there is an area which is very active, some of the biggest, most famous scientists are working on that area, we should try to have the courage to start something totally new and develop that new development and discipline. And that courage is very rare, because one of the reasons that courage is rare is because when we go into areas which are not already developed, the chances are that we will make mistakes. And it is only through making those mistakes that we can develop something that is not yet known. So any innovation, anything that is not yet known, when we talk about innovation, we are talking about creating something that does not exist and bringing it all the way into society. And that requires a lot of courage, and there are many, many chances of making mistakes on the way. So to have the courage to make mistakes and to go on is very, very important. And that's where I give the quotation of Niels Bohr, who said, an expert is a man who has made all the mistakes which he can be made in his field. Okay, so once you've made, of course, you don't make the same mistakes, and that you learn from that. And there are many, many quotes like that. So that is how you really become an authority. And that is, then people come towards the area that you have developed or towards the things that you are discovering. So this is a culture that is required if we want to become a scientific leader. Because to a large extent, what much of the scientific groups do is to try and follow up and make a slight incremental improvement in many of these things. So, and it is, not an impossibility if you really think your way through these procedures. So I think with this, I will stop my talk. I hope that I've been able to communicate some of the requirements if you really want to follow a career in science and technology. And once again, I thank KSCSTE for the invitation, and I hope that you would. Okay, I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. As always, it was great listening to you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And now we have Dr. M.P. Rajan as the professor at the School of Mathematics, Indian Institute of Science Education and Research, Thiruvananthapuram. He served as professor in charge and dean of Indian Institute of Information Technology, Kottayam, and associate professor at Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati. His research focused on financial engineering, mathematical finance, statistical and econometric modeling, data science research, etc., and has received several awards. It's my pleasure to invite Dr. M.P. Rajan for the invited talk. Over to you, sir. Hello, Rajan sir, you're on mute, sir.
Able to?
Yes,
To
sir.
hear me now?
Yes. Now it is audible, sir.
Yes.
Good morning to all of you. First of all, I would like to thank Professor Pradeep, Professor Sudheer, Professor Dr. Pradeep, Dr. Lekha, and the KSCSTE team for inviting me to this event, and also appreciate them, KSSTE as well as DST, for organizing such kind of event. Okay, so basically, I would like to talk about the role of ISER in the human capacity development point of view. You know that if you want to build a good house, we need to have a good foundations. Without having a strong foundations, the house will be a weak structure. So science is the foundation of technology. So without science, the technology cannot prosper. In fact, the development in the science and technology is the barometer, one of the barometer for the development of any country. So keeping this vision, the government of India has initiated establishing the ISES in the country. But not only that, if you are looking at the Indian share in the world research point of view, you can see from this graph that the maximum which we have achieved, it is around 6% in the contribution, or 7% in terms of physics and materials for the contribution of research in the globally. And if you look at the mathematics point of view, you can see that hardly 2% contribution in the world. The number of research output coming out of the Indian academic systems is very, very less compared to the global research. Certain cases even 0.5 contributions, and certain cases it is 2% contributions. So what is the motivation for establishing this ISES? ISES, of course, it is an autonomous institutions of national importance under the Ministry of Education. And it is specifically dedicated for scientific research and science education of international standards. And the important feature of the ISER is like integrating the state-of-art research with the academics. And in fact, all ISES offers the basic science programs in the country. Now, if you look at the specific key features of ISES, you know that the faculties are the backbone of any academic institutions. So one of the key features of ISER is that the highly competent and motivated faculty in various disciplines with a passion for scientific research. And the second important feature is that the state-of-art teaching and research facilities. So I worked in both IITs and ISER. Then I found that the research infrastructure in ISES are far superior than the IITs. IITs is specifically focused on technology, but of course still they promote science. But in ISES, compared to any other academic institutions in the country, have a good infrastructure for the research. The third important point for ISER is that the undergraduate teaching is integrated with cutting-edge research across the disciplines. Specifically, the students used to do 1 year research in their academic undergraduate program itself. So I do have a long-term collaborations with the KSSTE, especially for organizing the science talent enrichment program. And through that programs, in fact, many of the students could come forward for doing research in many of the academic institutions in the country. That is one of the good initiative of KSCSTE, and it has very good impact in the society as well. And ISIS point of view, it has, of course, the eco-friendly green campuses, and intense trainings are given for developing a motivated scientist in the country. So the dearth of the scientists in the country, in fact, can be reduced by motivating more students to come forward for research in the country. So another features for the ISIS is that they have the MOE with the leading universities in the world, and also lots of collaborations between these institutes. And the students who are studying in the ISIS will have the opportunity to do even the national and international internship program. And the facilities offered by the ISIS is very good in terms of the library resources and other laboratories and the residential facility point of view. So if you are looking at the ISIS point of view, there are 7 ISIS in the country. In 2006, 2 institutes have established, one in Pune and another one in Kolkata, and then later in Mohali, and then 2008, Thiruvananthapuram and Bhopal has been established, and 2015 and 16, Tirupati and Perambur has been established. Now, what is the capacity development of ISIS in the country? If you are looking at the data of the ISIS, it can be seen that on an average, around 200 students are admitted every year in each ISIS. That means around 1,500 students are admitted for the undergraduate program, and around 100 PhD students, especially for older ISIS, are admitted in each ISIS for PhD and IPhD program. That means around 500 students are admitted for PhD programs in this institute. But one of the interesting fact about this capacity development point is that if you look at the BSMS program point of view, around 50% of the students are Keralites. That means if you look at 1,500 students are admitted in the ISIS across the country, around 700 students are from Kerala. So if you are looking at the future point of view, especially from Kerala point of view, these students may be interested to come back in future to Kerala. So the opportunities the government has to think about how we can make use of these students for our development, especially Kerala point of view, because these people usually the people coming out of these institutes go for the PhD programs, and if they come back to the states, what will be the situation has to be analyzed later. Now, what are the courses offered at ISIS? Almost all ISIS offer similar kind of programs, especially the biological science, chemical sciences, mathematical sciences, and physical sciences. And recently, many of the ISIS has started the data science program. So it is one of the emerging field. Nowadays, Suresh Dasar was telling that mathematics people are not ready to come forward for doing the research in the mathematics side, right? So, but if you add the computing into mathematics, then mathematics and that particular computing area is actually leading to the data science point of view. And if you look at the job opportunity point of view, around 11 million opportunities are going to create by 2020-25 globally, and especially in India itself, around 1 lakh job opportunities there. And at present, around 2.67 billion industry is especially working on the data science in India, and it is going to grow to 6 billion by 2025. So if you want to change the scenario, especially in the scientific area. So it is basically the interdisciplinary area. That is what the ICER is promoting it. If you are looking at the ICER's curriculum point of view, that is distinct from many of the academic institutions in the country. So the undergraduate curriculum itself, it is mostly interdisciplinary in nature. Earlier, our 20 years back, when we were studying the science disciplines, biology and mathematics were segregated. But nowadays, that is not the scenario. So biology students used to study mathematics and mathematics students used to study biology. So it is a interdisciplinary research forever is imbibed into the students community so that they can be a better scientist for tomorrow. And especially if you are looking at the curriculum, the admission point of view, BSMS point of view, there are 3 different channels are there: Kishore Vigyan program, JE Advanced channel, and the State Central Board SCB channels. And of course, all these students are given, or at least many of the students are given the scholarship for pursuing a research career. And KBPBA used to give the scholarship, and the Inspire from DST. Many of the top 1% students are given the fellowship for this kind of students. Looking at the opportunities for point of these students, most of these students go abroad for the research. That's what I was telling earlier, that once if they intend to come back to our country, then we need to think about the opportunities which we are creating today for them. And some of the students go for the management program, some students go for teaching jobs, and some students go to industry and other government jobs. And PhD program point of view, integrated PhD points are there. Those students, especially the people who are doing the Pratibha scholars, especially Pratibha scholars attending some of the programs, used to come for this integrated PhD programs. Basically, the bachelor's degree is enough to pursue an integrated PhD in ICES. In almost all ICES have the similar features, and the other additional criteria could be the qualifying in the JAM point of view, which is conducted by the IIT, or some of the ICES in fact conduct the specific test for integrated PhD admission point of view. PhD point of view, as everyone knows, that a master's degree is the minimum eligibility criteria, but there are good BE, BTech students are also encouraged to apply for the PhD programs, and in addition to that, they may clear CSE or UGC or GATE or Inspire PhD, they will be awarded scholarship. One of the specific features of ICES are that they are the PMRF granting institutions, Prime Minister's Research Fellowship. All ICES have this feature. So basically, the students who are completing this PG programs, they are eligible for applying this PMRF scheme. So PMRF scheme is basically 2 types. One is called a direct entry channel. Another one is the lateral entry channel. This is the highest fellowship, around 70 to 75,000 per month is offered to the students. The direct channel people will, when they are applying for a PhD, they have to undergo a specific interview so that they can get selected, and these people will be recommended at the national level, and from there, that pool, these people will be offered PMRF fellowships. Another category is the lateral entry channel. The lateral entry channels, those who are pursuing PhDs in the ICES, then if they are really good, they can apply for this lateral entry program, and it is screened at the institute level and the national level, later at the national level, and then the PMRF is offered to the students for completing their PhD. So a lot of opportunities are there for the students' point of view. And if you are looking at the human, I have to tell about ICER Thiruvananthapuram. Of course, we offer both BSMS, MSc integrated and PhD programs, and we also introduced the data science programs in the recent past. But one of the opportunities point of view, one of the recent study, especially conducted in India, shows that as a top institute in the country like IITs, IISc and ISIS. Around 6,000 fellowship are given to the students for pursuing the PhD. And the opportunity point of view, especially if you are looking at the chemistry point of view. The chemistry, it is said that around 800 students are coming out every year from these top institutions like IITs, IISc, ISIS, and CSIR institutions. But the number of opportunities for these students to get a job in this academic institution is hardly around 200. So what will happen to the remaining 600 students? So they have to search for opportunities elsewhere. So we need to address this kind of issues. 20 years back, this was not the situations. But this is not a scenario in especially in the engineering and the mathematical sciences. We still have the difficulty in getting the good people. One of the, I am one of the member of the NAC team, which assess the accreditation for the universities and the colleges. And recently we had a meeting. We were informed that around 55,000 colleges are in our country. And out of this 55,000 colleges, hardly 25,000 colleges are only accredited. And 30,000, the colleges are not accredited. In Kerala point of view, we have around 1,000 colleges, but hardly 200 colleges are only accredited. That means only 20% of the colleges are accredited. Remaining 80% of the colleges are not accredited. So what could be the reason for not accrediting this college has been discussed, and some of the reason could be that the colleges may not be interested because there are different criteria has been imposed. It could be the infrastructure. Another could be the dearth of good faculty members. So colleges may not have a good quality faculty members, especially having the PhD holders. So this means that, so although there are lots of people coming out of our academic institutions with a PhD point of view, but they may not have opportunities in the higher education, top higher education system, but they will have lots of opportunities in the colleges, and they don't need to worry about having a future about pursuing this research in various disciplines. So I'm sure that the pursuing a career in research, a career in the scientific area is not at all a bad idea, and India will continue to grow and the quality of educations will be improved. Even our collegiate educations can be a high quality collegiate educations because of the research output, the human capacities output coming out of these top institutions. But only alarming things, which as I pointed out earlier, especially Kerala, many of the students have interest in pursuing research in science. Those kind of things the government should certainly take care of. Then the opportunities we have to create for our future generations, and that kind of plan should be in place, and we have to think about it. And that's all from my side. Thank you for listening me.
Thank you, sir, for that insightful lecture. And now I invite Dr. T.P. Sethumadhavan. Dr. T.P. Sethumadhavan is a leading educational career consultant and founder of Edu Startup and facilitator of Startup Village project of Kerala Veterinary and Animal Sciences University. He also served as the director, UL Education at the UL Cyber Park, a leading farm journalist, published several books on animal husbandry and education, and got several prestigious awards. Currently, he serves as the education and career consultant and professor at Transdisciplinary University of Health Sciences and Technology, Bangalore. It's my pleasure to invite Dr. T.P. Sethumadhavan for the invited talk. Over to you, sir.
Can you see the slides?
No. Yes, we'll share, sir. We'll share it from here, sir.
So can you share from your side?
Sir,
Please share the slides from your side. Most respected scientists from KSTE, and I'm extremely grateful to Lekha ma'am for this invitation. I know the organizers are struggling to meet the time. So my topic is, I'm directly moving to the topic, the role of skilling in human capacity developing. Especially my earlier speakers, Dr. Sajid Gopinath and Suresh are already detailed about the importance of skilling. Within the COVID-19 disruptions, a lot of transformations are taking place across the world. So within these transformations, say the primary agriculture, secondary industry and tertiary services sector. So the tertiary services sector grows moving at a very faster pace, and its growth is more than 10% of the GDP. So along with the services, along with the science jobs, the scientists need to get more human resource development, especially in communication and writing. That is more important. The second thing is, across the world during the COVID-19 era, STEM courses are acquiring more momentum: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Then recently, one of the reports from United States say 3% of the Indian scientists in USA contribute 33% of the output of entire United States of America. So see the contribution. So human resource development is an important area we need to look into. At the same time, as rightly pointed out by Suresh sir, say the demographic profile of the people in India, say 51% of the people are of the average age group around 26 years. And 1/3 of the population are of Gen Zers. Gen Zers means they are between the age group of around 18 to 24. At the same time, the scientists requires appropriate skills. When we are talking about skills, 3 skills are more important. That is communication, technical, and domain skills. So within the education, 4 is the more important. First is expansion. Education institutions are expanding like anything in the country. Second is equity. All are getting the opportunity to study. And third is excellence. There are a number of education institutions like ISER, Indian Institute of Sciences, and IITs there in our country. At the same time, fourth is more important, that is employability. Of the graduates passing out from the country and of the postgraduates passing out from the country, the employability is getting reduced, that to around 25 to 26%. As rightly pointed out by the Professor Rajan from ISER, so it's a fact that 600 people, 600 numbers of the ISER graduates, they are looking for jobs elsewhere, and most of them are looking for research opportunities or faculty positions abroad. So this is the situation. So in this way, we need to look for some of the major challenges in higher education, how employability can be increased. And within the education, for especially knowledge is important, attitude is important, and also skill is more important. The knowledge we can see within their transcripts. At the same time, attitude-based skilling can only enhance the employability of the students. There lies a huge skill gap between available and required skills. And how the universities and research institutions are responding to the need of the new skills. When simple examples like speaking, communication skill, and writing skills, the universities and research institutions and the colleges need to impart more skills among the researchers in writing appropriate papers within the journals having good impact factor. And also communication skills are also more important. I'm sure, say, the Kerala State Science and Technology is giving more emphasis to human resource development from the school days itself. And also through different programs like different science congresses, they are giving more opportunities for researchers to exhibit their talents. At the same time, how embedded skill development program can augment the employability. So within the program, whether we need to have an add-on program in skill development along with the curriculum, especially those with the students with science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Say 90% of the companies are investing for skill development. And at the same time, we need to look for, say, the digital transformation is moving post-COVID digital transformation is moving at a very faster pace, and which is the best practice for expanding and diversifying curricula for lifelong learning. That's more important. Not only communication skills, soft skills are also more important. Just like conductors require lifelong skilling process in order to learning process in order to improve their employability. So the changing nature of the workforce and the future of the work necessitates the need for reskilling and upskilling. That's more important. So only through appropriate reskilling and upskilling, the employability can be increased further. So within the, so moreover, so please don't change the slides, okay. So within the changing scenario of COVID disruptions, so a lot of changes are taking place. Technologies, advanced technologies are emerging, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, blockchain technology. A lot of transformations are taking place and digitalization is moving at a very faster pace. At the same time, ILO has predicted that by 2040, of the total jobs, 40% jobs will become obsolete and the new jobs will come there under the banner future jobs with a future innovation. So remote working is becoming a reality during COVID-19. So individuals are taking the responsibility for skilling. So skilling with knowledge and attitudinal changes will enhance employability. So only so at the same time, all the research is, next slide. So the NEP National Education Policy emphasized value-based education, talent analytics, and also skill mapping. At the same time, emphasized need for internships, assistantships, and apprenticeship programs. So the need for skilling is to build up competencies among the students and teachers. At the same time, it must facilitate placement. So think of sustainable technologies. At the same time, I'm working with the university. It's a transdisciplinary university. The beauty of the university is we are only offering the research programs, and all the research programs are under multidisciplinary approach. So I'm working with different programs like antimicrobial resistance program. So coupled with different agencies, we are working. So at the same time, some work on ethno-veterinary medicine and also some work on Ayurveda and also. So multidisciplinary research is one of the important areas. We can improve the human capacity development programs of the scientists and researchers. At the same time, when we are looking for the skilling also, we need to look for the market first, the market-centered skilling. So what the potential employers are required, what the potential research institutions are required, we need to look for the potential skills and we need to impart that skilling. So interventions in skilling at the academic program, both at the undergrad level and also at the postgraduate level. And also interventions in the doctorate level will improve or will enhance the employability of our researchers and scientists. Next. So how the human capacity development can be made, delivering value-based education and skilling, which fosters employability enhancement and life skill development, providing competencies on decision-making and critical thinking, creativity and innovation, undertaking research and innovation that creates social impact. That's also more important. Then fostering global engagement that facilitates overseas education and training programs, nurturing human resources that values ingenuity and diversity. As I told earlier, upskilling and reskilling are more important. At the same time, social responsibility through sustainable development and promoting entrepreneurship. So we form an ecosystem that is conducive to the flourishing of the knowledge and human development. I'm not taking much time. Thank you for your patience. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we have the award winners session. We may hear from an Inspire Faculty Award winner, Dr. Adira P., Assistant Professor, Civil Engineering, IIT Palakkad.
I am Adira. I am currently working as an assistant professor in the department at IIT Palakkad. I am a recipient of Inspire Faculty Award from DST in 2015. I started my career as an Inspire faculty in the Department of Civil Engineering at NIT Calicut. This award includes two components. There is a fellowship amount, which is equivalent to the starting salary of an assistant professor in an IIT. then 35 lakhs rupees for research. In addition to research, this program were invested in academics. I got this permanent position in IIT Palakkad in 2017. Then I changed my project host institute and shifted to Palakkad. So this is one advantage of this program. There is huge flexibility in project implementation. This is one of the golden opportunity for the researchers, those who are trying to establish their career. So this program supported me in establishing my research in an area which is completely different from my PhD research. As part of this program, I was working on regional scale climate change impact studies on Bharatapuzha River Basin. As we know, Bharatapuzha region is actually one of the climate change. The State Action Council on Climate Change. The analysis of climate data, 120 years of climate data in the basin, indicated that there are strong signals of climate change in the basin and significant variations are observed after 1980. The climate change studies are actually dependent on climate models. These climate models are doing simulations on a global scale. So there is a huge difference in the scale at which we are doing the simulations and the scale at which we are using this information for decision making. In addition to that, the lack of complete understanding on the climate physics and the future climate are adding huge quantity of uncertainty in the climate projections. We are actually developing the adaptation strategies and policy decisions based on these uncertain projected climate. So in my research, I focused on reducing the uncertainty in regional scale climate change impact studies and quantifying the uncertainty. So currently we are actually developing a framework for including the quantified uncertainty in decision making. So other than this project, this program actually encouraged me to apply for other funding options and diversify my research. So in this occasion, I express my sincere gratitude to DST. Thank you.
Dr.
Groups and its subgroups known as DSCR elementary orthogonal group. As part of my research, I have studied the quadratic version of the famous Basculan conjecture and the normality of the DSCR elementary groups. There are objects called classical groups and its various generalization. I have studied these generalization. Study these groups. My research has relevance in international and national. Throughout my career, I have got opportunity to work with expert mathematicians in India as well as abroad. I did my doctoral visit to Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, Mumbai. I have worked with Professor B. Suri from ISI and in our country who were very much supportive and encouraging to me. I got the opportunity to visit University of Chinese Academy of Sciences, Beijing, during my PhD. There I could work with Professor Goping Tang, who is one of the eminent mathematicians in the area K-theory. After my postdoctoral visit to TAFR, I joined Cochin University of Science and Technology as an assistant professor. At KUSAT also, the academic community is very much supportive to research. It helped me a lot. I was invited to give talks in international conferences in Sydney and Adelaide. I have also got opportunity to attend conferences in Japan and South Africa, where I could get the travel support from the organizers and SIMPA. In 2017, I was awarded with Overseas Postdoctoral Fellowship by SERB, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. That gave me an opportunity to visit Western Sydney University, Australia for an year, where I could work with Professor Rusbe Hazrat, who is a leading expert in both the areas K theory as well as non-commutative algebras. That opportunity helped me a lot, and it gave me more exposure to the research community abroad, since there were many visitors at WSU during that year, especially from UK, US, Spain, and Germany. I had fruitful discussions with the experts in the area of non-commutative algebras. Although it was a new topic to me, I had developed a keen interest in this topic, non-commutative algebras, during 2017, when I had convened an international workshop at KUSET, which was jointly funded by National Board for Higher Mathematics and KSCSTE. As a result of this conference, various collaborations had initiated, and we could publish a book with Springer. I received a Young Scientist Award in 2021. This encouraged me to do research more enthusiastically. It gave me opportunity to interact with many experts also. I have witnessed that many of my colleagues and students are benefited by various schemes by KSCSTE, such as research fellowships, emeritus professor schemes, seminar grants, and Young Scientist Award schemes, which give a research grant to do research. Thanks to KSCSTE and SERB for motivating and supporting my career journey. Thank you.
That was Ampali. And now Dr. Sudarshan Karthik, Associate Professor, Department of Avionics, Indian Institute of Space Technology, is yet another Kerala State Young Scientist Award winner. We can now listen to him about his accomplishments.
A very good morning to everybody. I am Dr. Sudarshan Karthik, and I am the 2020 Kerala Young Scientist Awardee. I did my BTech in National Institute of Technology, Rourkela, in electrical engineering, and my MTech was in electronic design and technology from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and my PhD was in power electronics, again from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. After my PhD in 2015, I went to Canada to do my postdoc, and my postdoctoral work was on power electronic emulators for renewable energy applications and electric vehicles. So from 2017, I have been with Indian Institute of Space Science and Technology, Trivandrum, and currently I am appointed as Associate Professor in the Department of Avionics. My field of interest is power electronics, electric drives, electric vehicle technology. So I would like to focus on one very novel concept that I've been working on for the past couple of years, which is called as integrated battery chargers for electric vehicles. So one of the challenges that our Indian consumer faces when choosing an electric vehicle is what we call as range anxiety. That is, if we start using the vehicle, whether the battery would suffice till we get home or it would get over. So there is a very good reason for this range anxiety, because we don't have a very good charging network as of now. And the reason for that is it's like a chicken egg problem, where you need more number of vehicles to justify the presence of a very large electric vehicle charging network, and at the same time you need an a big electric vehicle charging network to encourage customers to opt for more electric vehicles. So how do we solve this problem, the chicken egg problem? That is where this concept of integrated battery charger comes in. So the idea is like this: we use the existing components of an electric vehicle to create a high power charger. So what it means is we will be able to charge our electric vehicles on road with any available power supply, with whatever components are existing within the battery charger, within the electric vehicle itself. So there's one point here which I would like to mention is it is not just carrying the charger along with the electric vehicle. Currently in the market there are such solutions available, but the issue is the moment we try to carry the charger, it adds to the weight of the vehicle, and because of that we are able to have access only to low power chargers. But what we are trying to do is have a high power charging capacity with the available components. So what we are targeting here is ability to charge the car wherever we want, and what we need is only a power source. So the impact that it would have on the larger system is that it would reduce the cost of a charging. We need so many components in the charging station because we are using the components that is present in the electric vehicle itself to do most of the work. So the range anxiety the customer faces is also getting reduced because he has the capability to charge the vehicle with high power capability anywhere on the road. Say for example, currently if the battery runs out and you don't have access to a charger, it would take more than 6 to 8 hours to charge the battery. But with this system, it can be charged within 1.5 hours or so. Again, I would like to thank KSCSTE for giving me this opportunity to share my research work with esteemed participants of this seminar. Thank you again.
That was Dr. Sudarshan Karthik. Now, Ajay John Chemmanam, the research scholar at Cochin University of Science and Technology, was awarded with Prime Minister's Fellowship for Doctoral Research in 2020. Over to his words.
Hello, Sharika.
Yes, sir. Sunil? Okay, it's getting.
Respected distinguished guests, faculties, researchers and research aspirants. My name is Ajay John Chemmanam. I am a research scholar at Department of Electronics, Cochin University of Science and Technology. My area of research is computer vision in artificial intelligence and machine learning. My research aims to make intelligent systems that understands human behavior. We know the number of gadgets without internet and smartphones. What if these devices that we interact with can detect your presence and act intelligently based on your behavior? Can it alert others if it finds some anomaly in the human behavior? My research tries to detect and track people in CCTV surveillance video feeds, learn and understand the normal behavior of people in different environments like banks, ATMs, retail shops, public spaces, etc., and flag the authorities in case of any suspicious activities. An initial version is now being tested and deployed commercially by an industrial partner named Viewlogics Technologies Private Limited at the branches and ATMs of a leading scheduled commercial bank in India. Also, we are in talks with other retail marketing chains, gold loan financiers, etc., for improved surveillance and video analytics. I was awarded the Prime Minister's Fellowship for Doctoral Research in October 2020 for my research works. It's a 4-year fellowship awarded jointly by Department of Science and Technology and Confederation of Indian Industry (CII). That attracted me to this fellowship. One is obviously the financial aspect. We know most of the students end up with the multinational companies after their graduation and never wants to come back to the research institutes due to the low financial support provided compared to what they are given by the MNCs. Amounts to twice the current JRF or SRF slabs given by the governments in other schemes. Additionally, up to 24% HRI is also given based on the city where you reside. The second reason that attracted institutions, exploring the commercial aspects of the research through industry collaborations. The third reason is the industrial experience that we get during our research time. You might have seen reports saying that the graduates from academic institutions do not have the necessary qualifications or requirements set by the industry. Employees in industrial jobs often does not use what they studied during their graduation or post-graduation. This gap between the academics and industry is something that needs to be addressed with utmost priority. The industrial partnership provided by this fellowship scheme helps to work with the industry during our studies, familiarize the best practices and tools used by them. It also provides access to real-life data, get direct feedbacks from end users who is going to use our research outputs. I feel that these things truly distinguishes the PM fellowship from other fellowship schemes. There should be more such industrial, academic, and government collaborations for a more fruitful research community and achieve the dream of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Finally, let me conclude my words thanking the organizers, KCSTE and DST, for providing me a platform to share my experience with the fellow researchers and research aspirants. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Ajay. And we now have 3 Inspire awardees under the Manak scheme 2018-19. Let's listen to Anna Alfonsa Teresa from Kendriya Vidyalaya, Ernakulam first.
I'm one of the 60 awardees for the Inspire Award Manak 2019. This competition was held in a phased manner in which students from their respective clusters and regions were first selected, and on the later process, 60 best projects were selected at the national level, which was held at the IIT Delhi campus. The project for which I was awarded with this Inspire Award Manak was a solar-powered sanitary napkin incinerator. In the future, I am looking forward to develop this product into a commercially viable product as to meet my mission for which I have developed this, that is to help the rural women to maintain a healthy and hygienic life and also to reduce waste. As a part of this program, I was also be able to part of the Sakura Science Student Exchange Program, which was held in Japan, and some of us were given a chance to visit Japan for a week. During the visit, we were taken to many universities and institutes of Japan and was also able to interact with great minds like Nobel laureates. I believe that this program would inculcate a sense of research, science and innovation within young minds. And for me personally, this has benefited me a lot. I would like to thank the Department of Science and Technology, DST, and also the Inspire Award Manak for giving me such a wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Let's listen to Anakha Vinod of GHS Meenangadi, yet another Inspire awardee.
Vinod. I'm living Sultan Batteri. I'm studying in class 12th at Government Higher Secondary School, Meenangadi. I'm the Inspire Awardee in 2019. My project name is Eco-Friendly Vegetable Cultivation Pots instead of plastic grow bags. The pot made of cow dung, rice hull, hay, coir fiber, plant gum. The local name is Kulamavu. Botanical name is Persea macrantha. All the ingredients mixed will make it paste. By using the paste, different type of mold, different type of pots. I'm very happy to have received the Inspire Award. This award is helpful for my higher studies. This award has helped me a lot to increase my knowledge in science. This award is an incentive for my further research. As the part of receiving this award, I had the opportunity to participate Festival of Innovation and Entrepreneurship held at the Grambati in Gujarat. I had the opportunity to meet and talk with Sri Ramnath Kovind sir, the President of India. It is an amazing experience in my life. The language of my heart, I thank the Department of Science and Technology and National Innovation Foundation of India. I have had the opportunity to attend a mentorship camp as part of this Inspire Award. I would like to thank my parents, teachers, and my dear friends who encouraged me to receive this Inspire Award. I would like to thank the trustees, Department of Science and Technology, and Kerala State Council for Science, Technology and Environment for including me in this program. Thank you.
Now we have Mohammad Ansel MA of GHS Binachi. Let's listen to him on his achievements.
My name is Mohammad Ansel. I am from Wayanad. I am studying in +2 at Government Technical Higher Secondary School, Sultan Batheri. I won National Inspire Award in the year 2019 at IIT Delhi. I also participated in the Festival of Innovation and Entrepreneurship in Gujarat. I made a machine for climbing coconut trees. So it's helpful to coconut farmers to pluck the coconuts from the tree. It's a turning point in my life. I get a chance to meet our President Sri Ramnath Kovind sir. I'm so lucky to share a platform with our Honorable President. During this program, I met innovators from all over India and I get a chance to compete with them. In the year 2020, I participate Irish National Fair and I had a chance to compete at the national level. I'm thankful to DST, Government of India and Technology Council for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Now let's have a look at his project that won him this award. Okay. Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So now, thank you all for sharing your accomplishments and for being an inspiration to many. Let me move on to my duties of proposing the vote of thanks. Most respected Professor Sudheer sir, the Executive Vice President of KSCSTE, Dr. Pradeep Kumar sir, the Member Secretary, Dr. Saji Gopinath, Dr. Suresh Das sir, Dr. MP Rajan sir, Dr. TP Sedhumadhavan sir, Dr. Lekha ma'am, Dr. Ravikant Prajapati, directors and scientists of R&D institutions, my senior colleagues and distinguished. This is the second program of the series of the programs as part of the Vigyan itself, and in a very relevant theme, the human resource development. We in fact got to hear from the highly accomplished scientists and technologists to young enthusiastic children. It's great to be part of this program. I profusely thank, on behalf of Department of Science and Technology, Government of India and KCSTE, Professor KP Sudheer, the Executive Vice President of KCSTE, for all the support and guidance in organizing this program meticulously. Thank you, sir. And sincere thanks to Dr. S. Pradeep Kumar, sir, the Member Secretary KCSTE, who is the General Coordinator of this program, for all his efforts in smooth conduct of this program. And on behalf of KCSTE and DST, I express sincere gratitude to Dr. Saji Gopinath, who has enlightened us with the keynote address. I sincerely thank Dr. Suresh Das sir, the former Executive Vice President of KCSTE, Dr. MP Rajan sir, Professor at ISEP Trivandrum, Dr. TP Sedhumadhavan sir, for their work and for inspiring us. I wholeheartedly thank Dr. K.R. Lekha, the Senior Principal Scientist at KCSTE, for coordinating the conduct of this program meticulously and for detailing the KCSTE initiatives. Thanks to Dr. Dattan sir, who has joined us in this program. Our sincere thanks to the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, Dr. Debapriya Datta, Dr. Rashmi Sharma, and Dr. Ravikant Prajapati for all the guidance and support. Our gratitude to the officials of different SNT councils for joining the program, and special thanks to Uttarakhand State SNT Council for the necessary directions and guidance. On behalf of DST and KCST, I thank the directors and scientists of R&D institutions for joining us. My sincere thanks to the scientists and administrative staff of KCST headquarters for joining. Thanks to the technical team of KCST, the Information Systems Division, for managing the online platform. I sincerely thank all the distinguished participants for their wonderful participation, and I'm sure you all, especially the students and their young researchers, would have much benefited listening to the dignitaries and the award winners. Thank you one and all. We now conclude the program. We'll meet you with the next theme next month. Thank you. Now we have the national anthem.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गढ़वंगा शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Okay, thank you. Thank you all once again.